is going to be a very, very long stream because I have a few things to cover. Just a few things to cover in this very long stream. Very, very, very long stream. But remember, it's not the streamer you want, but it's the streamer you got. Nothing regarding Hex, cryptocurrency, Richard Ecosphere. I did see a tweet from Richard Hart, RH, and it mentioned something about anyone got any connections to Netflix corporate. I don't, so I retweeted. That's all I could do. But beyond that, that's about it. Icosa seemed to be moving upward, so too did everything else. That's my technical analysis. What else? I was interested in looking into further into the Mountain Crypto Advisors. See if I can get my hands on the PDS, but I'm not sure that's exactly what they offer. So yeah, I don't know. I just thought that would be interesting. I did manage to find them on LinkedIn. They got an interesting webpage. What else? Yeah, that's about it. Those are things I've been thinking about lately. Haven't had a chance to look at testnet lately. Although I did have a funny thought. Imagine if every time Richard Hart was posting a funny Instagram picture where he bought heaps of gear, maybe that's like a code, to spam up the testnet. Maybe there's been a new small update. That one I'm not so sure about. In regards to the stream, all I can see is shadows as far as the eye can see. It's crazy. We get some better lighting in here. Got to get some noise cancellation. Got to get a better mic. You might even be able to see that. Yeah, you can. It's like I've got a microphone arm, and to absorb some of the sound, I literally have an old shirt wrapped around it. That's the level of quality my study is running at. My once work office is now a streaming studio. But I digress. Let's move on. So that's the intro. Oh, you guys aren't gonna like this. Now, me reading this out again, if it appears anywhere else, then it appears anywhere else. I'm not sure if other people are covering this. Maybe they don't want to, but it's similar to the way, I guess, if you read a news article and it's behind a paywall, and only the people that, I guess, pay for the paywall would read it. So it's up to them whether or not they repeat that information or perform their own analysis on that information or whatever. If people think it's correct or their analysis says it's correct, I guess it's kind of cool to see it parroted, or the same message reappearing, because you generally know that that could be the right information that you're talking about, and others might think the same thing. Basically, I'm just talking about that because if I read through this newsletter and then other people think that it's relevant or whatever, maybe, just maybe, they might look into it. If not, doesn't matter. Then afterwards, it's a pretty grim prediction. I haven't read it yet in full, so I thought I'll do it live on the stream, show you how my logic works, or doesn't work. Some may disagree. And then I'll cover the Twitter file, some stuff from Elon, and then we shall cover our buddy at FTX and his latest plea. What that could mean. What else? That is about it. Yeah. Alright, let's get into it. Oh, and then I'll cover SPAs, because I really want to get through this particular textbook, because once it gets to the end, there is actually a time frame broken down in terms of a response timeline. It's in the appendix, so it's not part of the main report, but appendix is sometimes useful. Yeah, it actually shows. I almost want to jump straight to that, but you got to go through the tedious, other stuff. Can't really read that. Response timeline scenario. But yeah. I find this stuff sort of interesting, but many wouldn't, because you might just tune out right now because the only thing hex related is the fact I'm wearing this particular hat. And I do think hex will, change the world for the better. And when it does, those t-shirts and the hex that you mint every day might become a lot more valuable. Just think about, I think Bitcoin's birthday today or the day before, I can't remember. Imagine being able to mint one or more or fractions of a Bitcoin every day. That'd be pretty cool if you were able to do that, if you still had the mining capacity. And what a t-shirt. T-shirts are basically like Bitcoin miners. Yeah. Then if anyone pops into the chat, I'll address them. I don't think many people will come to this one. But again, it's so much easier to upload instead of having to record a video, talk to myself, and then re-upload the whole video. Half the time I go back through and just have a look to see how I'm verbally slurring, mumbling along, and also to put some timestamps in and some references. So sometimes for myself, it's beneficial. All right, we shall begin. Now, maybe I'll try and send a link out. I'll try and attract the streaming gods, because I do want some people to hear this. I will go to share, Twitter. But yeah, I have as the thumbnail, if you want people to hear the truth, you better make them laugh, because otherwise they're going to want to kill you. Now, can I type with the million chords around me? Sorry, I'm going to have to look at the keyboard. Hexacanes. That's not appearing. Let's have a look now. What is the saying? The saying is, people the truth. You better make them laugh. Otherwise, they might want to kill you. And then I should put at the end of that, the economy's not good. Now, I think it's good that I produce this content, present it to the Hexicans, because even if they don't listen to it, or if some listen to it, it's a good counterbalance to, I guess, not the echo chamber, but we generally agree on a lot of things, so there's not much more we can add to the things that we all agree on. But to bring, different sides of the argument and then talk to each other about those things, or present our different ideas on those things, is probably more beneficial, especially for the freedom of speech worldwide, and especially to come to a better understanding. And usually, the stronger argument tends to win. So that's also a part of why I do this, because if you think, or that some of this stuff is absolute bullshit, or you think it's like not worth covering, and you make content about that, or you tweet, or however you want to engage with other people, it's just good. I'm just happy that I can present my side of the story, side of the analysis to the to the world. Actually, I'll word like this. It's not good. Not good. Because it is not good. I've read a little bit of this, and I'm not sure what it's going to mean for the crypto space. And then I'm going to cover also some stuff behind the paywall. What the, I guess you would say, the mainstream finance sector is, talking about cryptocurrency. Now, I think I did butcher that ever so slightly, but I will tweet that out, because I do think this is good content to engage, let other people know it's grim, dark, but it's got to be covered. Because if not, if we just bury our head in the sand, we pretend like nothing's happening, then it's not beneficial for anyone. You might feel better, you might think that you can just ignore these things, but eventually, if you do not engage in things like this, kind of like the saying, if you think politics is for, idiots, or politics sucks, or, you think that you're you're more intelligent than the politicians, and that means the politicians are going to rule over you, and so you're literally ruled by people dumber than you. It kind of sucks, It kind of sucks. And a lot of the times their take on their economic understanding is not up to scratch. It's very short term. They don't think into the future. I think more in terms of making sure they maintain their power and their policies get through, and maybe being, politically correct also tends to help. Okay. I've lost my screens. I'll bring them back. If no one comes in, I'll jump into it, because I really want some people to hear this, man. Cue the elevator music. The Twitter file stuff is also very interesting. Now, maybe before we begin this section, we'll cover the paywall stuff, eh? So this one here, we have that might be a bit difficult to read, but hopefully you're on a large screen. Alright, so we've got Wall Street Pro, a central banking sector. I didn't know that was a thing, so I had to look into it. And it's talking about, Federal Reserve, FDIC, and OCC warns banks about cryptocurrency risks. Scroll up, you can see that. Regulators say holding cryptocurrencies is likely inconsistent with safe banking practices. So that is not good for the talking point where, banks are going to buy crypto. We're going to become the world reserve currency, and crypto is going to be widely accepted. It kind of sucks to say that out loud, but at the same time, you have to be realistic. Realistically, what is the chances that cryptocurrency replaces, your bank account? Can it earn better yield? Yes. Can it perform better? Yes. But can it replace your bank account? Probably not. Not at the moment, anyway, because as it's been said in our community circle, that exchanges are basically like like a toilet. It's a necessary function, like a bathroom, not a toilet. I kind of agree with that sentiment. Regulators say holding cryptocurrencies is likely inconsistent with safe banking practices. Goes on to say, how a small group of powerful bank regulators on Tuesday highlighted that what they said were a litany of risks stemming from cryptocurrencies, and expressed skepticism that the assets can be safely held by the financial institutions they oversee. The Federal Reserve, Federal Deposit Insurance Corp, and Office of the Controller of the Currency said that recent failures of major crypto firms led them to exercise caution in reviewing banks' proposals to engage with the market. So that's interesting, right there, because I guess when you're talking about creating a new product within the banking system, maybe you're talking about creating a new fund, a new investment portfolio, a new fund, and how do you build that particular fund? There would be I've never done it. There would be a lot of work that goes into that. And I guess a part of it, through my understanding, again, never done this myself, haven't worked directly in that area, but there's a lot of regulation, and there's a lot of assessment, and there's a lot of reports, and there's a lot of proposals. And if you were to propose to, you know, make a fund backed by or that invests in a cryptocurrency, a particular group of cryptocurrencies, a particular exchange that invests in cryptocurrencies, or I guess DeFi itself, you'd have to, you know, be able to present the risks, how they're regulated, how you would, you know, go through this process of investing in that particular item, asset, fund, whatever it is, exchange. It's not like they can just be like, here, we need this much money and we're hoping that we make some returns, you know. Otherwise, that would sound a lot more like gambling, you know. I don't think that's what's happening in the upper ends of the banking world. Yeah, the investment banking, you know, the stuff we don't really think about. Again, could be full of shit. Who knows? Who knows? But generally, people that work in all various aspects of finance, you know, they're not exactly dumb, generally speaking. Like, and then depending on what section they work in, depending how high up the ladder they go, all sorts of things like that. Their knowledge is pretty deep. Like, we see a lot of hexagons within, you know, our ecosphere, and they're really well versed in the financial legacy side of things, I think, from my understanding, which is good. But again, how do we then explain something like hex to these? How do we get it in front of eyes who that could potentially, you know, move forward with a proposal to try and get more funding for, you know, a simple investment? That would be pretty difficult, I think. I'm not sure what's in the works at the moment in relation to hex specifically, but in relation to cryptocurrency in general. Like, it's going to be a pretty hard sell. You're in a boardroom and you're like, I think we should invest all our money on Bitcoin. Everyone's going to be like, what the why? How? What's the risk? How are you going to do it? We're going to need a little bit more than that, you know. So I think the more people can teach them that, the better it will be. I don't like the regulation, because the regulation side of things will be, I don't think they're going to do it right, because they don't understand the technology. They don't understand a lot of things. The technology is moving faster than the law can keep up with, in my humble opinion. Like, it's blockchain is like telling you, like, I can't like create the code or read the code per se, but I can read the on-chain data when and how, where it's going. So therefore you can, you know, audit yourself, and you can do away with accounting, because the blockchain fixes that. I personally think it's too hard to revamp the entire accounting sector and to put everything on blockchain. Although when you see software, simply like Maya, Zero, shit like that, banking software arguably, things like that, accounting software is a lot of it. It's, in essence, it is a ledger. Although, unlike blockchain, in cases it can be rolled back. Well, blockchain can be rolled back too, but it can be, you know, altered, changed, updated. I guess you need to do things like that in some instances where, I don't know, you want to change someone's names, someone's address, things like that. But what about if, you know, an error is made and you need to amend that error? One would have to probably go in there and change it. I guess you do that in the back end, or however they are allowed to do it. Now, blockchain is not that simple, because if you send your crypto to the wrong address, you can't roll that back. You can't get that back. So it's very important to pay attention to what you're doing in blockchain. So that would be a hard argument to explain to large businesses and entities. If you did this right and you were able to keep accurate records, you could do away with a lot of your bullshit processes, because this system would keep everything exactly how you need it. Get some people in there who can read and pull up some reports from the data. Makes everyone's life a whole lot easier. Now, sorry, I digress a lot. But we then see here, Finbear, what is happening? It is late evening here too. I thought I'll do a long stream about one stuff. It's like you have you have a bank and a whole legacy financial system built around their understanding of how money should work, how their business model should work, how they should make money. And then you come along and tell them this cryptocurrency thing with the blockchain, with the on-chain data, could solve a lot of your bullshit processes. But if you get it wrong, you can't fix it. Now, that might make some people feel, on edge or nervous or unsure, or consider that a risky proposal. So then you see the things. So I lead into, cool. It's going to be a bit of a long one. I'll keep going. So then imagine you trying to put forward, I think we should change our entire business model and get funding to make all the bank's processes built around blockchain, and build our own blockchain and run everything on the blockchain. All we need is to build our own. And then you'd have to explain how you're going to do this, the risk involved, what could go wrong, what could happen, what is the benefits to the bank, how can they can make money off this. It's like a never-ending nightmare. I could imagine getting into government and saying, I'm going to fix everything, but where do we have to start? Oh, here. You fix one little thing, you have to fix everything. It's like they say, to create anything in the universe, you first need to create the entire universe. It's kind of complex. It's very complex. Now, when these guys get together, the powerful banking regulators, and they say, we're just warning of a litany of risks stemming from cryptocurrency, and express skepticism that assets can be safely held by the financial institutions they oversee. They're basically saying, don't stay away from crypto. They're basically saying stay away from cryptocurrencies due to the risks. And I don't think they have time, or it's not brought to them, things like the difference between, centralized exchanges and why they are middlemen to cryptocurrency, and centralized exchanges are basically bad in comparison to decentralized exchanges when it's being operated legitimately. Because even in decentralized, smart, decentralized finance, and people that can write fraudulent or not misconception, decisive smart contracts, malicious smart contracts, that can be written in DeFi as well. So they're things you got to look out for. But I don't think these guys have the time, or will it, or they don't have the want to understand a lot of this stuff. And in light of all the FTX failures and the centralized exchange failures, it's going to be extremely hard to put forward to them anything about cryptocurrency investment, and then on top of that, explain to them how this blockchain could be used in an efficient way to solve a lot of their problems. Because that they got to make money, and they can't just be. It's like built-in obsolescence. They can't. If something can come along and completely revolutionize your area of expertise, I don't think you're going to take too kindly to it. Imagine if you had some free energy. This is an example. Imagine you had some device that could produce free energy, and the free energy company goes to the big energy companies currently sitting in power, and they say, "Oh, we've got this thing here that could, in essence, overthrow all of your monopoly, and You could lose all of your profits and we could make a little bit of profit. How does that sound to you? If it came to a vote, I don't think it would pass on a business perspective. Sorry, on a business angle, on their angle, no matter how you frame it, because it's profit driven. Now, that's unfortunate for, I guess, humanity, because for humanity, it would be better, you know? You could argue, well, if all banks, you know, ran their stuff on blockchain, if all banks, you know, if all banks ran their processes of keeping track of everything on some sort of blockchain through smart contracts that were written, it would make auditing a lot easier. It would change the way it's audited. It would change the staff needed to operate all this stuff, but it would make everything, it would remove a lot of human intervention. And more often than not, it's human error that, you know, brings about errors. As the saying goes, we're only human. Where was I going with that? Oh my god, the emails are coming in. Now, I'll go back to here, sorry, I've just gone off on a massive tangent. Just chasing my tail, basically. Now, the Federal Reserve, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and the Office of the Controller of the Currency said that the recent failures of major crypto firms led to exercise caution in reviewing banks' proposal to engage with the market. The highlighted fraud and scams, market volatility, legal uncertainty, weak risk management and governance practices, crypto firms, among other things, as reasons for concern. Again, not addressing real DeFi that's like immutable, you know, has like multiple audits. Most Hexagons will understand what I'm saying here, but it gets all bundled up into, you know, SBF and FTX or Celsius and Mashinsky and or malicious smart contracts, or people that don't know how to keep their seed wallet safe and, you know, somehow get compromised that way. And that all gets bundled in and then gets put on someone's desk and they go, nah, no to the crypto, sorry, too bad. It's very frustrating to have technology like this available, but yet we don't understand how to use it. It's almost like we had the internet very early on. There was like the dot-com boom and people were just going nuts over. I remember someone said, oh, one day there will be an app and you can like check the weather on the app and it's going to make so much money. And then you see, like, that's just like a small, like, it was a good idea, but it's just a small function of what the internet currently does today. And I'm not sure if people actually make money off that. I haven't looked into that. But Google, on the other hand, they might have made a little bit of money on that, you know, because you can type into Google, what is the weather? So that's what I'm saying with cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. It's going to be revolutionary, but I don't know how we're going to get it. I don't know how people are going to understand what it is. I think a lot of things are going to have to fail first. And then once they fail, the strong things will survive. The cream rises to the top. And then maybe it can be put forward again. You know, oh, this is the stuff that failed. This is the stuff that hasn't failed. How about we look at the stuff that hasn't failed? You know, maybe that's more of a stronger argument than cryptocurrencies in general. Especially on the back of that particular article that was written just the other day. Under the central banking, Wall Street Journal Pro section, paywall. Now, we have the warning, back to the article. The warning reinforced policymakers' dimming view of cryptocurrencies following the collapse of trading platform FTX in November and suggested bank regulators could throw up more hurdles for firms in the sector. Prosecutors say FTX and its affiliates misused customers' funds, and they have charged its founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, with criminal offences, including fraud. He has pled not guilty. Now this moves into our next topic. Here we go. It's got here, crypto imploded in 2022 as investors lost faith in digital assets, and the industries was plagued with crises. But unlike other collapses, it has largely avoided ripping into other markets. The Wall Street Journal explains how cryptocurrencies became so interconnected. Illustration by Valerie Brangan. It's got some flow charts and who was investing in who, I guess you could say. It goes on to say the agency said banks are neither prohibited nor discouraged from providing services to customers of any specific type. I need to reread that again. The agency said banks are neither prohibited nor discouraged from providing services to customers of any specific type. They said they are continuing to assess whether or how banks can deal with cryptocurrencies in a way that adequately ensures the institution's safety and soundness, consumer protection, and legal compliance. Interesting. So it's by no means not on their radar. It sounds like they're, again, assessing every single thing they come across, how it's profitable, how it could be used, what the risks involved. I guess you could even say, I would argue, I don't know this for a fact, this is just my gut feel, that if I controlled a big, very large investment bank, I would have teams of researchers, both senior and junior. I would have teams of multiple corporate spies. I would have teams of, you name it. What can money buy? Investigating, researching, trying to understand how cryptocurrency works, how the blockchain technology works, how it's being used, how it could be used against them, how it could be used with them, how it could be beneficial for them. I keep thinking of, I think it's JP Morgan, they've got their own Ethereum nodes, and they've got their own little private network going. I can't remember who said that when I first heard that, but if you look into it, I think there is an article based on that, which is interesting because that means they have the ability to arguably fork in their own little private testnet on how things work, and have a play around and run examples of if we did this, what could happen? If we did this, what could happen? If we did this, what could happen? And maybe play a lot of games with that. I don't think that's any stretch. That's not a far stretch to think that that is going on. I mean, I could imagine them doing similar things, testing, running this, running that, and just seeing how it happens, like a training drill, like you would train in the environment that you would be operating in, whether that be, I guess, cyber, physical, or financial. I could imagine instances of, real world market analysts keying in, coding, creating the entire existing cryptocurrency market as we know it, paralleling the data as we know it, and okay, what if we do this? Oh, this happens. What if we do this? Oh, this happens. What if this happens? This happens. Like it's not beyond the imagination to think that could be going on. I would not. This is no information at all. This is like a gut feel. I would almost bet money that this is happening, but whether or not you can prove that, I don't think you could, because without actual inside knowledge, how does one prove this is going on? But in the same breath, it's like saying, well, how do you prove that the military-industrial complex is not, maybe running tests here and there? It's pretty hard to, but most people you would ask on the street, if they told you their honest opinion about this, they would say they probably think, that it is going on to some extent. Now, again, off topic. What we have here. Since the 2009 launch of Bitcoin, the first cryptocurrency, most large banks have been reluctant to embrace the asset class. The Securities and Exchange Commission says it considers most cryptocurrencies to be unregistered securities, making them legally risky for regulated firms to offer or sell. Now, that's an interesting statement because this is very new. I could say it's breaking news, but it's just an article written behind a paywall under the section Wall Street Journal Pro Central Banking. Now, I'll repeat that. It says, since 2009, the launch of Bitcoin, the first cryptocurrency, most large banks have been reluctant to embrace the asset class. And then it says here, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, says it considers most cryptocurrencies to be unregistered securities, making them legally risky for regulated firms to offer or sell. Again, very hard to put forward, to a board or something, or a business proposal that's saying, we're making a new fund and we're going to make the new fund based on XYZ. when you have so many risks in place. Now this is just, I think it's just fact. I think it's just common sense. I think it's just logic. I think the community needs to hear this because it's not being spoken about too much. It's not overly positive overall, but without this information, being discussed or even thought about, it just gets buried in the sand. And the people that, this one is, I bought it, but I used that 12foot.io. It did not work. It was actually for this article as well. Well, not this one, but the same one. I'm not sure what was going wrong. But what it did, it pulled up, I entered the right website in, but then it took me to like a secondary website. But it did work for some, but not, basically it doesn't work for all. So that kind of sucked. But I'll go back and double check. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, I find that interesting, very interesting. But a handful of banks have gotten involved. So after that, California bank Silvergate Capital Corp transformed itself into a smaller lender into a bank for cryptocurrency investors and exchanges, and gets 90% of its deposits from such digital customers. Its stock has fallen nearly 80% in the past 3 months amid questions about its exposure to the industry. Now, that's not good. People trying to lead the way in this area have been decimated by market conditions, to say the least. Now, that's not to say there's opportunities to make money off of this crashing economy. People maybe have made money already, I don't know. Not sure if they're aware of cryptocurrencies and things like that, but there's definitely opportunities when things are all going down to still make money. Anyway, in the statement Tuesday, the bank regulator said they have significant safety and soundness concerns with business models that are concentrated in crypto asset related activities or have concentrated exposure to the crypto asset sector. They also warned of the susceptibility of so-called stablecoins. Now this is interesting. First time I'm reading this, I'm doing it live on stream to try and cement my understanding of what angle they're trying to present. Now, cryptocurrencies backed by supposedly safe dollar-denominated assets to potential runs by spooked investors, such as events that could cause sudden deposit outflows for banks that hold cash reserves for stablecoin issuers. Tether keeps coming to mind here. So too does what USDC did, how they basically got tracking the IP. I think through Infura, basically raises more questions. What that could be used for, how some code was frozen, made illegal in some countries of the world. I think it was the US, Tornado Cash specifically, and various connected wallets to Tornado Cash. Makes, what if someone comes out, and what sort of risk would that pose to a sector investing in that? What if someone somewhere sends a silly amount of dust to like a wallet that an institution holds, and the whole institution's banks get frozen and locked out? It could get pretty damn challenging to navigate through murky waters like that, to say the least. That's what I think. Now, there you go. Second largest stablecoin issuer, Circle Internet Financial Limited, said recently that it had more than a million. How am I reading a million? It had more than 11 billion in cash held at banks, including Silvergate, Bank of New York Mellon Corp, Citizens Trust Bank, and Customers Bank. Dante Disparate, Circle's chief strategy officer, said that in an email that the risks highlighted by regulators Tuesday were mostly about greed, arrogance, and in some cases fraud, not blockchain finance or neutral decentralized technology. So that is a very, I think, a positive statement, because we're seeing, chief strategy officers mostly concerned about greed, arrogance, and in some cases fraud. Now, most of that, I would believe, stems from man, not technology, which it goes on to say, not blockchain finance or neutral decentralized technology, because I think they understand. I think a lot of people in this area actually understand this, but are like closet, cryptocurrency people, because they don't want to come out and in a board meeting be like, bro, have you like invested? You know what I mean? They're gonna put up their professional power game. Yeah, thank you, El Honka. Cheers, bro. I try. It's not it's probably not the stuff that is covered often that I see in the community as a whole, but it's also stuff that probably should be. Again, it's my take, and people might disagree with what I'm saying, but I try and frame it in a certain way that we need to understand the pitfalls and potential bad things that could be coming, but as well as the good stuff, But this was a good read. As I'm reading this out loud, like, this guy is actually saying, greed, arrogance, fraud versus, is not as good as the actual blockchain finance or neutral decentralized technology, which is a very interesting statement to make at this point in time when we're seeing everything fail around us. So what is the next bull market going to look like once all the arrogance, greed, and fraud has been washed out or locked away or killed off, and all that's left is neutral decentralized technology and blockchain finance? It's going to be pretty cool. Going to be very positive for the prices of all that remain. I could go on to talk positive of Hex, for example, but I think as Hexicans we understand this, and if I don't think many other people outside the Hexican community are actually going to be able to reach this content. Now, Customers Bank said in an email statement that it has worked closely with federal and state regulators on its blockchain-based payment system and other crypto-related banking products. So I think I was talking about that before. Basically, the bank said that it's confident in its risk management standards and welcomes the opportunity to work cooperatively with regulators and policymakers. Now, I'll reread that again. Customers Bank said in an emailed statement that it has worked closely with federal and state regulators on its blockchain-based payment system and other crypto-related banking products. The bank said it is confident. That's at the same time I read that out loud. It's good, but at the same time, if you dig a little bit deeper, it could also be leaning towards a central bank digital currency type situation. But I don't think that's what they're working on directly, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out how the central bank digital currency is going to be rolled out, and whether or not it's going to be a central bank digital currency versus the bank's version of digital money versus a few cryptocurrencies that can prove to the world that they're trustworthy, they're reliable, and they run. So when a bank, customer bank, and this is one of the ones that work with, the stable coins, and they're saying that they're working closely on their products, it makes you wonder, it really makes you wonder, will it be rolled out through banks and all the banks take up stable coins or a form of stable coin? And then that becomes a central bank digital currency, and then regulations are put in place where banks have to, report on other people as they have to do for various reasons. Or is it going to be purely that, I don't think this will be the case. I don't think banks are going to be shut out of the financial game, and businesses have direct accounts with the central bank, because that would put a lot of people out of work to start off with. It would be very difficult to explain to the public, oh, your bank has gone bankrupt because, you know, the government has decided to roll out their version of money. Welcome to a situation which is similar to communist China. I don't think that's going to be an easy sell by any point, by any means. Yeah, we'll check out this other article. But yeah, so then a spokesman for BNY Mellon declined to comment. Representatives of Silvergate and Citizens Trust Bank didn't respond to requests for comment. So that would be pretty cool to see, I guess, more people working on the technology, working on the positives around cryptocurrency and its technology, but at the same time not being so reliant on that system where everyone gets trapped, lured into use of, you know, banks that offer certain central digital currencies, or they offer their own product, or they offer, you know, something like a stablecoin, and which then could be flipped on everyone's heads and, you know, made worthless, which requires everyone then to, you know, engage in central bank digital currency. It's very, very complex. Now, why did that not open that up? Alright, cue the elevator music while I try and figure out. Crypto is taking on. I think that's the one. Okay. Oh, come on. Okay, so that's not gonna let us read it. Try one more time. I think it's just linked to how they're. Let's have a look how customers' bank is performing. They got a PE ratio of 3.25, EPS 8.63. Not sure what that is. Market cap of 921 million. That's probably down a fair bit with the whole market down. And shares outstanding 32.52 million. Public float 30.24 million. And the yield CBI is not currently paying a regular dividend, so no dividends. Shares sold short and changed from last 13.2%. Percentage of float. That's some pretty interesting stuff. Knowing that banks are directly, you know, engaging in this and trying to make their own banks based on around cryptocurrency and its technology, but more on the stable side of it. It sounds like. So where to from here? All right, so we covered that. And that was a good read. The next thing, I guess we cover SBF. Now, SBF has appeared. Oh, hang on. Change the audio. I have a sip of my lemon water. Now. Change the audio. Here we have the expected arrangement of Sam Bankman-Fried. What if we had a good, clear image of him? There he is, there's our buddy. Everyone?
Don't push on the door, folks.
Don't push the door, folks.
Stay away from the door.
Stay away from the door, alright?
Back up, let him open the door. Watch your hands, people. Good? Okay, pardon me, guys. Thank you very much, guys.
So this guy's cruising around, alright? After what he did. after
Watch your back, watch your feet.
A lot of stuff. Gets in his car, goes home. Now, does that seem right to anyone? I don't think it does. There's something wrong with society. There's something severe. What I think is wrong, I think is, as they stated down below, it is greed, arrogance, and in some cases fraud. That is what is wrong with this market at the moment, I think. Hopefully, we can remove the greed, arrogance, and fraud from this cryptocurrency space. But I don't think we will. I honestly don't think we will, because it still exists in every aspect of life, in every market, in every business place. If you think it doesn't, then your naivety deceives you. So we have here, SBF has pleaded not guilty in FTX fraud case. October trial sets. Oh, so it's gone to trial, okay. My understanding, lawyer, not legal advice. There is things called discovery within trials. And if, it is brought to the case's attention, the relevant facts, things can be drawn out, pulled out, and discovered. I guess that's what it's called, discovery. Now, imagine the level of data that could be discovered with a case or a scenario like FTX. The mind boggles on what could be discovered. But I think what we'll find, I don't know. I have a feeling he's going to plead not guilty, and then, guilty, this would have all gone away. He would have got a harsh sentence. Again, not legal advice, just analysis here. But imagine he goes to trial, gets up on the stand, pleads the fifth. Nothing said at all. Just other than he's not guilty. Okay. Bankman-Fried did not speak at all. Speak to the judge during the hearing, but conferred privately with his lawyers. He shook hands with one of the prosecutors before the arrangement. When it ended, he approached a handful of courtroom sketch artists and commented on their work. We have the Massachusetts Institute of Technology graduate could face up to 115 years, which is a lot of time, in prison if convicted. He has previously acknowledged making mistakes at FTX, but he said does not believe he has criminal he does not believe he has criminal liability. Wasn't he the CEO? Pretty sure he was the CEO, so pretty sure he should. I'm not legal advice. Now, the founder and former CEO of cryptocurrency exchange, yeah, there you go. Okay. There we go. Again, just more of them. Bankman-Fried rode a boom in the value of Bitcoin and other digital assets to build a net worth of an estimated 2.6 billion and became an influence political donor in the United States. FTX collapsed nearly. It goes on. It goes on and on and on and on. Oh, that's not good. It says here, lawyers at the very end, Bankman-Fried have said his parents who co-signed the bond have received threats, physical threats, since FTX collapsed. Now the co-signers might have faced similar harassment. Okay, not cool. Yeah, people are not happy, man. Like, people lost their money, people lost their businesses, cryptocurrency's down. What could be the next domino to fall? Top banks are watching this unfold, and it's like, oh yeah, let's invest in cryptocurrency. Oh, hang on, isn't there something going on at the moment? Oh yeah, maybe let's not, hey? Meanwhile, Pulse Chain keeps ticking along. Hex keeps ticking along. The Hexagons, to some extent, are unaffected by this, but it's good to know that there's actual banks that are trying to work with decentralized technology in a way, or blockchain technology, And they've got banks like Silvergate, Bank of New York, Mellon Corp, Citizens Trust Bank, and Customers Bank. It's pretty damn interesting stuff. I didn't know all this was going on in the background. Could it be like a war of good guys in the background trying to promote the technology versus the bad guys? The embedded industrial military complex sort of black money, dark budget sort of shit going on. Going on. Who knows? I like to think there is, because the way the world is at the moment, I think there's a whole lot of stuff we're not being told. Now, for stuff we're not being told, we have the Twitter files. Ooh. Now, latest Twitter files. Change topic. Latest Twitter files expose Intel agency takeover and Hillary Clinton's role in pushing company to censor. Actually, no. Before we cover Hillary files, before we cover Twitter files, let's cover how the economy is looking. Hey, it is not good, people. It is not good. But I won't spoil it for you just yet. What we'll do, we'll cover. Now, I could end it here and I'm tempted to do this because I don't think, how can I word it? Once this gets repeated, it's probably going to get repeated again and again and again and again and again. So it's probably already been repeated a few times, but I guess it's worth putting out there. Again, I think it's very similar to reading out data from behind the paywall to subscribing to particular newsletters, I guess. Now, this particular individual, I personally think is amazing because I've seen him call a lot of things very, very accurately without me even knowing, mind you, because I also was following other sources of information that were calling things that led me to believe and form my own opinions, and then they turned out to be correct. And then I found this guy, and then also they were presenting a similar data. Not identical, but similar. It's actually quite scary at this point in time when conspiracy theorists and top analysts are starting to sound exactly the same. And then you have Elon Musk joining in and actually saying, what did he say here? Actually said this. He said, US government agency demanded suspension of 250,000 accounts, including journalists and Canadian officials. This was a mad Lundberg conspiracy that Twitter would do this. The whole argument there. Wait. It's too frustrating. I want to start yelling at the screen. Oh my god. Now, we've got this. Where am I? The prediction. Oh my god. It gets better, people. So, if in relation to Hex and Pulse Chain, you might not want to hear this, but this is just one crazy Lundberg conspiracy based on fact and data, though, mind you. That has been right before. Rickards' prediction for 2023. The Fed isn't done raising rates. Sorry, there won't be any soft landing. Then Jim Rickards shows you why a severe recession may be child's play to the greater financial storm that's brewing right now. Now, I could leave it here. I thought, well, I'll try and help some Mexicans now. I'm hoping that there's no how do I put it? Knowing that, there could be people who dislike Hex or dislike anything that I'm saying or other people in the Hex community are saying, maybe they could be, against this sort of stuff, or maybe they could twist words, or who knows what could be going on, Also, there's people that do like Hexkins, Hex community and things like that. So it's like, well, why not share it with them? Why not? We only live once, don't we? So this goes on to explain why. Here we have, I hope you had a very safe and safe and very happy and safe holiday season. Sorry, I'm getting extremely tired right now. 2022 is now in the rearview mirror, and it's time to look ahead to 2023. Look ahead to 2023. But in order to get a better idea of where we're going, it helps to remember how we got here. To say that 2022 was volatile and confusing for investors is clearly an understatement. Stocks crushed during most of first half of 2022, rallied back in July and August, dropped again in September, rallied in October, and then faded for the third time toward year end. Most of the stock market action was the result of narratives surrounding it. See, here's that word again, narratives. Listen, people. God, voice keeps like going all squeaky. It's so weird. Most of the stock market action was the result of narratives surrounding the actions of the Federal Reserve on interest policy rate. The losses in the first half reflected the launch of the Fed's anti-inflation rate hikes in March. Gains in the summer, fall reflected the narrative that the Fed was going too far and would have to pivot to cut rates and at gridlock soft landing. Now remember, you're going to hear this a lot. It's not going to be too bad. You know, soft landing should be okay. And everything's going to be okay. And the pivot's going to come and save us. That's what the mainstream media will have you believe. But some people that laugh at the mainstream media and provide better intel than the mainstream media can ever imagine to are telling you this could happen. So I'm not saying the mainstream media to mock the mainstream media, because sometimes they get it right. But more often than not, if you're moving on what you've heard from the mainstream media, you're already too late. Now, moving on. Again, people, I don't know how to make people laugh. People don't want to kill me, but you do understand that this is like the truth. And if you don't like the truth, then it's going to be frustrating for you to hear this. It might be easy to tune out. Again. The weakness at year end was a reality check for markets. Fed Chair Jay Powell made it clear again that he was serious about ending inflation and would continue to tighten money policies despite warnings that it was all too much. So what is in store for markets this year? This is what you're going to want to hear, Hexagons or anyone interested. Again, I take no credit for this information. I'm merely presenting data behind the paywall. Whether or not I should is another question, because, you know, I could keep all this to myself, but some things you got to share. Powell's made 5 major pronouncements in the past 5 months. With some slight changes, Powell said the same thing all 5 times. He said, fighting inflation is the Fed's highest priority. He said the Feds will persist in rate hikes until they reach a terminal rate defined as a rate high enough to bring down inflation on its own without raising rates further. Once the Fed hits its terminal rate, it will sit tight, the pause, until inflation actually reaches the Fed's 2% target. Finally, Powell made it clear that unemployment will rise and a recession is highly likely as a result of these policies. In effect, Powell said, too bad. About unemployment and recession, killing inflation is the only task right now. And you heard it many times, but people might not understand that's what's being told to them. They might frame it in a certain way. People might have their own hopes and dreams in place. I personally, it sounds crazy, a while back, I actually moved a lot of my superannuation 100% cash. Whether or not it's the right move, we'll see how 2023 goes. Based on Powell's latest remarks on December 14, the policy path from here is a 0.25 rate hike on February 1 and another rate hike of 0.25 on March 22nd. Oh, okay, it's a slight update. Previously it might have been 0.5, so now we're looking at 0.25. Okay, hang on. Let me just note that for my personal. Oh my god, I'm gonna try and find these notes. No. Interlude. Cue the music. I need to get some elevator music. Funny story today, I actually got trapped in an elevator. Well, not so much trapped in an elevator, but trapped in a trying to deliver something. It was hilarious. People are extremely dumb. They don't understand how systems work, how people operate, how to even get into valet parking, and they just think people can just randomly walk into hotels without any security. Are you fucking kidding me? It doesn't happen like that, people. Doesn't happen. Makes you wonder how the world operates. Anyway, now, based on Powell's latest remarks, on December 14, the policy path from here is 0.25 rate hike on Feb 1 and another hike of 0.25 on March 22nd. The pause might begin then, with the terminal rate at a projected 5.0. This is interesting. Alright, if anyone's tuned in now, this information might help you. What do we got? So what do we got? Terminal rate 5.25. We're looking at terminal rate. So it's good, go back through, note every single thing you ever hear. Because the chances of remembering it are very slim, although I have a pretty decent memory. But with stuff like this, maybe you want to take notes. After that. But after that, the Fed will probably slam the brakes on the rate hikes. The Fed will probably have to cut rates by June 2023. This is not a soft landing. Ooh, this is getting good. This is getting juicy, people. I didn't know this. This is the first time I'm reading this. Alright, so I'm literally updating my world here as we speak. Light her out. What do we call this? So repeating that, after that, Fed will probably slam on the brakes on rate hikes. The Fed will probably have to cut rates by June 2023. Alright, that is some breaking news here, people. What do we got? Probably, remember, probably being the key word here. Nothing in life is 100% ever. So look at June 2023. We might see our first rate cut. Alright, so putting that into the supercomputer, see how what answer that spits out. Now, this is the interesting part. This is the forbidden information that no one's supposed to know. Now, this is not a soft landing. The reason for this, for the pause and early cuts, will be that the Fed has thrown the economy into a severe recession. Okay, so it's gone from recession to severe. I should chop and clip some of this stuff, seriously. Now, I do have this uploaded to Rumble as well, so we'll have bragging rights see if this channel gets cut. After that, the Fed will probably slam on the brakes on the rate hikes. The Fed will probably have to cut rates by June 2023. This is not a soft landing. The reason for the pause and early cuts will be that the Fed has thrown the economy into severe recession. That may result in rate cuts, but a sharp recession is disastrous for stocks. Stock markets could fall 30% or more from current levels. So maybe me locking in cash at this point in time, or the cash being destroyed by inflation, might be an okay move. There's other moves, but yeah. I am a crypto guy, I'm not going to chase those other moves, although they are so tempting. Oh my god. Now, we're in a recession. Once we're in a recession, rate cuts won't do any good, nor will QE. Alright, I'm going to click this section. Once we're in a recession, rate cuts won't do any good, sounds crap. Once we're in a recession, rate cuts won't do any good, nor will QE. The recession will happen in a context of higher energy prices, ongoing supply, chain distribution, and Chinese collapse. And I said supply, chain distribution. I should have said ongoing supply chain distribution. People, listen. This is... anyway. But we could be facing something even more alarming than a severe recession in 2023. Read on for the answer. Now, should we read on, yes or no? Should I share this? I don't know if I should share this. I'll do it for Finbear though. On the cusp of a global liquidity crisis, there is a recession calamity worse than a severe recession in 2023. Unfortunately, the answer is yes, and it's coming quickly. The greater calamity is global liquidity crisis. Before considering the dynamics of a global liquidity crisis, it's critical to distinguish between a liquidity crisis and a recession. A recession is part of the business. Okay, actually, what I might do, I want to tweet this out because this is extremely serious. Actually, no, I won't, because then it's like I'm trying to take credit for it. I'll leave it. I'll keep reading. I'll quit later tweet. Now, the greater calamity is global liquidity crisis. Before considering the dynamics of a global liquidity crisis, it's critical to distinguish between a liquidity crisis and a recession. A recession is a part of the business cycle. It's characterized by higher unemployment, declining GDP growth, inventory liquidation, business failures, and reduced discretionary spending by consumers. Reduced business investment, higher savings rates for those still employed, larger loan losses, and declining asset prices in stocks and real estate. The length and depth of a recession can vary widely, and although recessions have certain common characteristics, they also have diverse causes. Sometimes the Federal Reserve blunders in monetary policy and holds interest rates too high for too long. That seems to be happening now. I should laugh. Sometimes an external supply shock occurs, which causes a recessionary reaction. This happened after the Arab oil embargo of 1973, which caused a severe recession from 1973 to March 1975. Recessions, sorry, my tongue's just like flopping around in my mouth. Recessions can also arise when asset bubbles pop, such as the stock market crash in 1929 or the bursting of the real estate bubble caused by a savings and loan crisis in 1990. Now, whatever the cause, the course of a recession is somewhat standard. Eventually, asset prices bottom with those cash go shopping for bargains. Oh my god, dyslexia is kicking in. Those with cash go shopping for bargains in stocks. Inventory liquidations end and consumers resume some discretionary spending. These tentative steps eventually lead to a recovery, and new expansion often help from fiscal policy. Global financial crises are entirely different. They emerge suddenly and unexpectedly to most market participants, although there are always warning signs for those who know where to look. Usually, they become known to the public and regulators through the failure of a major institution, which could be a bank, hedge fund, money market fund, or commodity trader. While the initial failure makes headline, the greater danger lies ahead in the form of contagion. Capital markets are densely connected. Banks lend to hedge funds. Hedge funds speculate in markets for stocks, bonds, currencies, and commodities, both directly in a derivative form. Man, I'm not even sure I should read the rest of this shit to you guys. Money market funds buy government bond debt. The banks guarantee some instruments held by those. Primary dealers, big banks, underwrite government debt issues but finance those activities in open markets where the purchased securities are pledged for more cash to buy more securities in long chains of hypothetical collateral. You get the point. The linkages go on and on. Telling you, man. The Federal Reserve has printed $6 trillion as part of its monetary base, MO. But the total notional value of derivatives of all banks in the world is estimated at 1 quadrillion. Remember, derivatives, 1 quadrillion. For those unfamiliar, 1 quadrillion is 1,000 trillion. This means the total value of derivatives is 167 times of all the money printed by the Fed. Now, those in the Hexagon community would benefit to understand this sort of stuff. Or not. And everyone in the world would benefit to understand this sort of stuff, but or not. And the Fed money supply itself, it's leveraged on a small silver of only 60 billion of capital. So the Fed's balance sheet is leveraged 100 to 1, and the derivatives market is leveraged 167 to 1 to the Fed money supply, which means the derivative market is leveraged 16,700 to 1 in terms of Fed capital. Nervous yet? You should be. Experts say, so what? These numbers aren't new and have been more stretched at certain times in the past. Simply because the financial system is highly leveraged and densely connected does not mean it's ready to collapse. That's true. Still, it does mean the system could collapse catastrophically and unexpectedly at any time. All it takes to collapse the system is a shock, failure, lending quickly to panic. My God, people. Everyone's worried about pulse chain. Everyone's worried about, when pulse chain. And meanwhile, we're like dealing with anyway. Margin calls are issued on losing position and immediate payment is demanded. Oversight repos are not allowed, not rolled over. I'll read that again. I started. Margin calls are issued on losing position and immediate payment is demanded. Overnight repos are not rolled over. Overnight deposits are not renewed and payment is required. Everyone wants his money back at once. Assets are dumped to meet repayment obligations, which causes collapse in stock and bond markets, which causes even more losses and liquidations among banks and traders. Suddenly, all eyes are on the Fed for easy money and on Congress for bailouts, guarantees, or more spending. We've seen this pattern in 1994, Mexico tequila crisis, 1998 Russian LTCM crisis, and 2008 Lehman Brothers AIG crisis. Note that two of these three most recent financial crises were not accompanied by a recession. There was no recession in 1994 and none in 1998. Only the 2008 global financial crisis happened in coincidence with a severe recession, which Australia didn't do too badly, mind you. The point is that recessions and financial crises are both bad, but they are different and do not always come together. When they do, as in 2008, stocks can easily decline 50% or more. We are looking at such a situation today. This brings us the key question. 11k, pray. 11k and pray. Pray, pray, pray. If financial markets are almost always leveraged, but financial crises occur once every 8 years on average, what signs can investors look for that indicate a crisis is coming and conditions are not just business as usual for financial markets? One of the most powerful warning signs is an inverted yield curve. This is a signal that was last seen in 2007 and just ahead of the 2008 financial crisis. A normal yield curve slopes upward and from the left to the right, reflecting higher rates at longer maturities. That makes sense. Oh my God, I wonder if... I just thought of something. What if Hex can indicate... Sorry, just pausing midstream, because I just had a thought. You know how, you could look at the potential interest yield of Hex over time. doesn't have the ability to provide a negative yield curve. Again, this stream is going to be extremely long because of its importance. I think it's important, you know. Okay, financial markets are almost always highly leveraged, but financial crises occur once every 8 years on average. What signs can investors look for? They include crises and coming conditions that are not just business as usual for financial markets. One of the most powerful warning signs is an inverted yield curve. This signal was last seen in 2007 ahead of the 2008 financial crisis. A normal yield curve slopes upward and from the left to the right, reflecting higher interest rates at longer maturities. That makes sense. No, longer pays better. Now, if I lend you money for 10 years and I want higher interest rates than if I lend it to you for 2 years to compensate me for added risks from the longer maturity, such as inflation, policy changes, default, and more. This is why Hex is Nobel Prize winning. Anyway, when a yield curve is inverted, that means that no longer maturities have lower interest rates. That happens, but it's rare. It means that market participants are expecting economic adversity in the form of a recession or liquidity risk. They want to lock in long-term yields even if they're lower than short-term yields because they expect yields to be even lower in the future. In a nutshell, investors see trouble ahead. Oh my god. See, I don't know if I should read this. Like, this is like real information, people. I'm telling you. You're gonna be right about post chain, and you're gonna get something worse. Although there is the opportunity for, you know, decorrelation from the market with something that maybe might be impossible to produce a negative yield curve. I'm not sure yet, but it actually might be. Actually, yeah, it is. It's in. Hang on. I'll think about that one. Now, in terms of Hex, it's impossible. Now, let's have a look. Other ominous signs include sharp declines in the dollar-denominated reserve positions in US Treasury securities of China, Japan, India, and other major economies. Naive observers take this as a sign that those currencies are trying to dump dollars and dislike the role of the dollar as the leading global reserve currency. In reality, the opposite is true. They're desperately short of dollars and are selling treasuries as a way to get cash up to power their own banking systems. These are some of the many signs pointing to global liquidity crisis. As we've learned in the past, these liquidity crises can seem to emerge overnight. But that's not true. They actually take a year or more to develop until they hit a critical stage, at which point they burst into the headlines. And once you hear in the headlines, it's too late. The 1998 Russia LTCM crisis started in June 1997 in Thailand. The 2008 Lehman Brothers crisis started in the spring of 2007 with reported mortgage losses by HSBC. The warning signs are always there in advance. Most observers either don't know what the signs are or are simply not looking. Middle from column A, middle from column B. Well, I'm looking, and what I see is a rare convergence of a severe recession and a liquidity crisis at the same time as happened in 2008. It's coming to... it's coming. There we go, it's coming. Regards. Okay, I've done my job. Pass it on. That's crazy, man. I gotta sit and absorb that. You. I'm not even sure how to process that right now. And so what we're going to process instead, keep us all distracted, is the Twitter files. Now, we saw FBF cruising around. We saw, what were they called? A group of powerful bank regulators talking about, why cryptocurrency bad. And then we see Twitter basically saying that files have exposed Intel agency takeover and Hillary Clinton's role in pushing company to censor. So I used to think, basically, they're their own private business. They can do what they want. Well, to an extent, beyond their legal practices, things like that they can't do because of the law. But so if they were to censor your account because you did something wrong on their platform, according to them, even though according to the law, then they can do that. And then it's like, well, hang on. If that's the case, what does that mean? Does that mean that we live in... Oh my god, I want to say it. So you're on Twitter and you get censored off Twitter. Why did you get censored off Twitter? Because you supposedly broke their terms and conditions, terms of service, terms of use, whatever it is. How many people actually read those things? I actually read them. They're pretty full on. But then we see, not just that, but if you're using this platform, you could be subject to government influence. Does that not sound like something out of a communist regime? I'm not saying that the government is communist in these countries that are doing this on the citizen, but I'm saying it resembles it a lot. And if you have the freedom of speech, for example, on a platform like Twitter, but then you don't have the freedom of speech on Twitter because the government says you don't, how is that in line? How is that logically in line with the laws of that country? Can you see my issue here? So we have this, right? In August 2019, Twitter was not worried about getting caught up in the establishment claims of Russian election meddling, disinformation spread. This is continuing on from when Trump got into power. It's still going to this day. Russian election meddling, disinformation spreading on social media, and encourage those interested to look into Facebook instead. Okay. That's what Twitter was saying, because, don't look into us. We're clean. Check these guys out. Chuck the heat over there. Are you serious? But what have we got now? Oh, we've had this. In August 2017, when Facebook decided to suspend 300 accounts with suspected Russian origin, Twitter wasn't worried its leaders were sure they didn't have a Russia problem. It goes on to say here, maybe let's go to the source, eh? Not this one. Musk's Twitter files provide a peek into the difficult process of moderating. We have here. Please load, please load, please load, please load. Oh my god, it didn't load. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? It didn't load? Ah, good here. Ooh. Thread 1. Get the popcorn out. The Twitter files. How Twitter let the intelligence community in. Obviously, you're lying about how I wasn't lost to Risprop. Do you mean Rushprop? But was always theirs. You're so used to smearing others as Russian proxies, you apparently don't feel shame about it. but it's incredibly obnoxious and you should really stop. Thread 1. I just read a reply, a random reply. See, if this is a video, I could edit that out. Ooh. Now, thread 1. How the Twitter files, how Twitter let the intelligence community in. Number 2. In August 2017, when Facebook decided to suspend 300 accounts with suspected Russian origin, Twitter wasn't worried. Its leaders were sure they didn't have a Russian problem. 3. We did not see a big correlation. No larger patterns. Facebook may take action on hundreds of accounts. We may take action on 25. Here's the images to back up this. What I was saying. Here we go. With Facebook on this effort, we can do that. We'll just want to be careful about expectations. Facebook may take action on hundreds of accounts. We'll take action on 25. We can add YOL for more detail. This is the Twitter files, people. We have here internal documents, aka Twitter files. Now that the story is out, it seems it seems like the focus of on the purchasing of 100k of Facebook ads by these Russian accounts. Understanding that we did not see a big correlation on our platform that Facebook found on theirs, we have run the analysis of whether the accounts we did have purchased Twitter promoted products. Okay. Then we have this. Vijaya, pretty sure that's the one that Joe Reagan from our legal counsel has spoken about this sort of stuff. Yes, we are in contact with Facebook, and I did get this list. I was on an initial call with Facebook along with from Blacked Out from my team. I'll let some Blacked Out summarize the findings, but with high level is that we see multi-account violations, but no larger pattern or items as per our terms of service. This is before mass censoring. Number 4, keep the focus on Facebook. Twitter was so sure they had no Russia problem. Execs agreed the best PR strategy was to say nothing on record and quietly held reporters at Facebook. Policy comms does not recommend using an on the record statement for the following reasons. Per discussion week 1, we can be more candid, pushing the book back to Facebook on background. 2, issuing a statement brings us closer to Facebook, their vulnerabilities on this issue, and the follow-up stories on Russia. Okay, the Twitter file. This is what I'm covering. Twitter. Number 5, Twitter is not the focus of inquiry into Russian election meddling. Right now, the spotlight is on Facebook, where Public Policy VP Colin Growell. Now here we have email. Privileged and confidential. Hello all. FYI that I'm going to schedule this time to discuss Russian election meddling and implications for Twitter. The Facebook announcement today is going to draw us into conversations with Congress and on this, and we need to duly address what we know and be responsive to inquiries from Capitol Hill. We are due to see the Democratic staff of this Senate Intelligence Committee, i.e. San Mark Warner, DVA's staff, at the end of September on this topic. This will be a non-public private meeting. Also, Rep. Schiff DCA of House Intel Committee has put out a statement this evening, pasted below, indicating that he'll be looking for answers from other platforms on Russian-related issues that Facebook disclosed today. Important context. Twitter is not the focus of inquiry into Russian election meddling right now. The spotlight is on Facebook because Facebook had better targeting ability than we have for campaign-related advertising, and because the Trump campaign spent massively on Facebook during the election compared to what they spent with us. For Congress investigators, the core issue here is that Russians tried to use social media to influence the election, but rather, how did they obtain relevant information for their targeting strategy? DNC hack? And 2, was there any direct or indirect coordination with the Trump campaign? Let's move on to 6. Number 6 in the thread. September 2017. After a cursory review, Twitter informed the Senate it suspended 22 possible Russian accounts and 179 others with possible links to those accounts, amid a larger set of roughly 2,700 suspected manually examined. Number 7. Receiving these meager results, a furious Senator Mark Warner of Virginia, ranking Democrat on the Intelligence Committee, had an immediate press conference to denounce Twitter's report as frankly inadequate on every level. Here we have a headline: Twitter briefing. Twitter briefing. Briefing to U.S. congressional investigators disappointing Senator Mark Warner. Wow, this is like full-on stuff. On the picture here, Senator blasts Twitter. Presentation on Russian influence was inadequate on every level. Okay. Number 8, hashtag irony. Mused crowd the day after Warner's presser, after receiving an e-circular on Warner's re-election campaign asking for $5 or whatever you can spare. Lol, replied General Counsel Sean Edgett. I don't even know what that means, man. We got here, hashtag it's email. We've only got a short amount of time before Saturday's crucial end of quarter fundraising deadline. And on us, they were behind. That's because Mark has been focused on the fight to save healthcare, helping out fellow Senate Democrats facing tough election fights, getting ready for next week's battle over the Trump budget. More on that later. So yeah, for now we really need your help to turn this around. Can you chip in $5 or whatever you can spare to help Mark get his quarterly fundraising goal? His reply was low. Okay. Number 9. Keep producing material. After meeting with congressional leaders, Crowell wrote, Warner has political incentive to keep this issue at top of the news, maintain pressure on us, and resist of industry to keep producing material from them. This is like, how does the world really work? I start to wonder. Update on Russian election interference, calling crap. Here's a little more background. Yes, only Sam Winner, the ranking Democrat on Senator Intel, commented. The Intel.com chairman Burr RCNC declined comment, and no other senators commented. One has been most vocal about the need for public hearings with social media companies and took Facebook to task a couple of weeks back, leading them to ultimately agree to disclose the ads they found associated with alleged Russian interference. Dynamic during our 2-hour closed-door meeting with the Senate staff investigators, Moore was cordial and less contentious than Senators' comments reflected. We got some tough questions, but what's happening? What's happening? Yeah, you're live on stream. Why? You can actually see you. Look in the camera, in the corner. If you open any more, you can stream. I've been informed by the missus to stop streaming and get a life. I tend to agree with her at this point. Now, where was I? Dynamic during our 2-hour closed-door meeting with Senate staff investigators was more cordial and less contentious than Senators' comments reflected. We got some tough questions, but we're working in collaborative spirit and pledged to circle back with more information based on their queries. On the House side, Intel Committee ranking Democrat Adam Schiff was this is very political stuff, was the only one who commented the US politics, so his statement was more balanced, thanking us for cooperation and looking forward to ongoing work together. But he also said he had more to do, investigate what happened in 2016, and we said we had significant forensic work to do, understand the depth and breadth of the Russian activity during the campaign. We knew going in that our biggest vulnerability was that our teams are addressing and solving the malicious bot misinformation problems of 2017 and beyond, but Warner and the Intel committees are singularly focused on what transpired in 2016, and we simply don't have a lot of data or conclusions to share with them in that front currently. Warner has political incentive to keep this issue at top of the news, maintain pressure on us and the rest of the industry to keep producing material for them, and generate interest for the November 1st hearing that is planned. Democrats also taking cues from Hillary Clinton, who in her What Happened book tour is pointedly taking our role of Russian propaganda and the tricks that we were pushed through social media had in her demise. Okay, so this is very political. She has specifically called out Facebook and other social media for not doing enough to address state-sponsored mischief in the election. We're also getting hurt by third-party academics and researchers who tap our API to pull together flawed reports, painting the bot/Russian troll problem as a significant presence on Twitter. They also claim to monitor these Russian networks on Twitter and then report on their activities. It was evident in the room with staff investigators that these researchers had already briefed the committees and asserted Twitter is a major problem. These studies are also cited in recent media stories. Are you serious? Taking cues. Oh my god. It just goes on and on. Hillary Clinton accuses Facebook, Twitter, and Google of enabling Russian agents. So the person who lost the election. Okay. Oh yeah, taking cues from Hillary Clinton. Now this is in, oh look, to Jack Dorsey. What the? He's got language, but. Number 10. Taking their cues from Hillary Clinton, Crowell added Dems were taking cues from Hillary Clinton, who that week said it is time for Twitter to stop dragging its heels and live up to the fact that this platform is being used as a tool for cyber warfare. Oh my god. Okay, I need to get into spies. Number 11. In growing anxiety over its PR problems, Twitter formed a Russia task force to proactively self-investigate. I can't believe this. Russia Task Group team. Thanks for being drafted to the Russia Task Force. For the next month, this team will be focused on conducting a more fulsome retro of the 2016 election, preparing an open congressional hearings at the end of the month, telling Twitter's story publicly, including robust outreach to outside researchers, reporters, and members of Congress, evaluating whether policy changes are needed. I will reach out to teams to set up initial scoping meetings in the next couple of days. In the meantime, I am sharing access to A working folder that includes some of the big questions we are trying to answer, as well as a full team roster. Thanks very much. Number 12. The Russian task force started mainly with data shared from counterparts at Facebook, centered around accounts supposedly tied to Russia's Internet Research Agency, IRA, but the research for Russian perfidy was a dud. My computer's not working. Wednesday, 11th October 2017. We have initial list of suspicious advertising content. A lot of benign content. Need to further investigate before we can draw a conclusion. Exec status update. Ads investigated. TLDR. Bot was built that produced lists of tweets around 8,000 around election content and a further 700 accounts with potential lists of accounts with Russian links. Deep analysis required before determining if connection between lists and Russia. Groups will do manual reviews with legal comms around the next phase to align on approach and narrow down lists to confirm connections and quantify. This is insane. I can't wait to the part where they say they ban people. It's like, no, they weren't banning people. What are you talking about? There was no like task force set up to research people and political parties throwing their weight around to make sure that, you know, they get targeted in the media, causing us to make changes to our policy. Number 13, October 2017. No evidence of a coordinated approach. All of the accounts found seem to be lone wolf type activity, different timing, spend targeting, 10k less in ad spend. Friday, October 13th. Too long to read. We have found suspicious accounts which demonstrate our investigative strategy is working. However, we see no evidence of a coordinated approach. All of the accounts seem to be lone wolf type activity, different timing, spend, targeting, less than 10k in ad spend. What if it's like 0? Exec status update, ads investigation. Manual review has begun with 6 accounts identified with some signal to Russia, mostly logging driven. Have been identified with election activity to 6 other retweets. Accounts already identified. RT? Russian tweets or retweets? I'm not sure. Deep analysis required, but at first pass it would suggest that these are low spend isolated actors rather than anything significant. Please do not share beyond this group. Linked to top levels. Make sure you don't share beyond this Make sure you don't share beyond this group, alright? Because this isn't happening. We're not looking into this. We're not being told what to do by Congress of a losing political party. What else could this be used against, you know? What if this was like, Number 14, October 18, 2017. First round of RU investigation, 15 high-risk accounts, 3 of which are connections with Russia, although 2 are RT. I'm not sure. Oh, RT. That's probably the media branch. Wednesday, October 18th, 200 read, not update. Exec status updates. First round IU investigation. Legal comms PP yesterday. The results suggest 15 high-risk accounts, 3 of which have connections with Russia, although 2 are RT. 2 are Russia. Feedback was positive around methodology and approach. Key next steps are to document in detail the methodology along with agreeing on the specific data point to share with legal outside counsel. That's my battery's running out, people. Number 15. Built new version of the model that is low precision but high recall, which allows to catch more items. We aren't seeing substantially more suspicious accounts. We do expect to find 20 with small amount of spend. You know, we're not doing this. We're not. Actually, what? Oh, anyway. Built new versions of the model that is lower precision but higher recall, which allows us to catch more items. We aren't seeing substantially more suspicious accounts. We expect to find 20 with small amount of spend. But this wasn't happening. Can you imagine what like the government could be building around the world? Isn't it good to know you're free? You have the political free speech to talk about this stuff and bring light to this sort of stuff. Well, it's not comforting at all. Now, number 16, October 2017, finished with investigation, 2,500 full manual account reviews. I think we think this is exhaustive. 32 suspicious accounts, and only 17 of those are connected with Russia. Only 2 of those have significant spend, of which Russia today remaining less than 10k spend. This breaks down the screenshot of that summary. This is insane. Too long didn't read. Finished with investigation. We have draft of 2 plans. We review 11 and many a decision about the path forward. We're going to finalize blog posts for plan B, launch an optimal launch window, which will be Tuesday. Oh my god. Come on, Twitter. You've been awfully slow. Number 17. Twitter searching, finding only 2 significant accounts, one of which is Russia Today, was based on the same data that later inspired panic headlines like, so, do you remember? Russian influence reached 126 million through Facebook alone. Twitter search found finding only 2 significant accounts, one of which is Russia Today, was based on the same data that later inspired panic headlines. Funny that how a narrative pushed by a political party who happened to lose the election would, there's some parts I'm sure this is a simpleton breakdown, would influence, put the screws on media platforms like this to, conduct further research. What sort of sway does Congress actually have? Like, that is pretty scary. That is just crazy. It's good to see how the world works, though. This is why I think we all need to get into politics. Look how Congress can influence, things like this, good or bad. What if you get someone in who really doesn't like cryptocurrency, or really doesn't like freedoms, or really doesn't like the freedom of speech, or really doesn't like the freedom of movement? But that's insane, right? Because no one would be against that. Then we got bread. The failure of the Russia task force to produce immaterial worsened the company's PR crisis. Oh my god. This is insane. You didn't find anything? We'll make it worse for you. We are the government. We are here to help. In the weeks after Warner Press, a torrent of stories sourced from the internet community poured into the news. Example of Twitter, October 13, Twitter deleted data permanently crucial to Russian probes. Potentially. What the? Politics. Twitter deleted data potentially critical to Russia probes. This is the narrative. This is the witnessing of a narrative. I don't even know what this is leading, man. Like, what, the suppression of free speech, or the whole. What else was taking place on Twitter before Elon bought this thing? Oh my god. 20. We were a contractor for the FSB. They could not have built a more effective disinformation platform. John Hopkins professor and Intel committee expert Thomas Reed told Politico. With Twitter. Oh my. Everything you know is a lie. What if I told you that? Would you believe me? Would you believe me? Were Twitter a contract for the FSB, the Russian intelligence agency involved in the 2016 campaign to meddle in the US election? Reid said they could not have built a more effective disinformation platform. This is fascinating. See how time reveals all? A lot of time reveals a lot more too. Where was it up to, man? Number 20. I've got to like and appreciate this stuff. Go on, Twitter. You can do it. Come on, man. What the hell? This thing up. It's really funny, like, sometimes when you want it to work, it works pretty damn sweet. Other times, it seems slow as hell. So I didn't even click that to open there. Anyway, go back to what we're up to. Number 20. As Congress threatened, oh my God. As Congress threatened costly legislation and Twitter was subject to more bad press and fueled by committees, the company changed its tune about the smallest of its Russia problem. Remember in the news, you used to hear all the headlines? This is like how things like this happen. Interesting. Who's pulling the strings? Where are the strings being pulled by? Number 22. Hi guys, just pass along for awareness. The write-up here from the Washington Post today on potential legislation or new FEC regulations that may affect our political advertising work. There's a picture. Targeting shadowy political ads. Hi guys, just passing along awareness to write up here from that. Yeah. In Washington, weeks after the first briefing, Twitter leaders were told by Senate staff that Senator Warner feels like the tech industry was in denial for months. Adding an Intel staff a big interest in political article about deleted accounts. Friendly meeting with Cos and Senator Warner, most focused on finding answers and doesn't have anything against the tech industry generally or Twitter in particular. Says Warner feels like the tech industry was in denial for months and now feels they understand the seriousness of what happened last year. You know, because we're from the government and we're here to help, and we're going to tell you how and why you're going to be doing this. Bro, I feel like this is like they're like the mob or something, you know? This is the people ruling over us. The Intel staff have mentioned a few things. Big interest in the political article about deleted accounts and tweets said that the Intel staff may seek clarification in writing from us as they need to know what data they could seek from us or whether certain information is gone. Oh my God. Twitter pledged to work with them on their desire to legislate. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of how SBF was working to try and regulate the cryptocurrency industry with politicians. How a narrative can be created. That's what this is reminding me of right here. I outlined work streams and they seem to content and look forward. Who's that? You're on stream now. Oh wait, no you're not. If you open the door a little bit more. What's that? Hang on. Hang on, stream. Alright, we'll try to wrap this one up. Oh my god, another stream. Same time. People say pledge to work with them when they design to understand area political ads. They. Knowing that our ad policy and product changes are an effort to anticipate congressional oversight, I wanted to share some relevant highlights of the legislation Senator Warner, Cole, Ventura, and McCain will be introducing Rate Policy Director Carlos Margie soon after. Wow. 26. The committees appear to have leaked, even as Twitter prepared to change its ad policy and remove RT and Sputnik to replicate Washington. Congress turned up the heat more, apparently leaking the larger base list of 2,000. Oh my god. I think that the politicians know how to play the game. Very well. Extremely well. Makes me wonder, when I see things happening, what's actually going on. 27 reporters from all over started to call Twitter about Russian links. BuzzFeed, working with the University of Sheffield, claimed to find a new network on Twitter that had close connections to Russian link bot accounts. Don't get on the wrong side of the politicians. They will come for you. They will take everything. I will try. Especially if you're not doing anything wrong. God forbid you want the freedom of speech. It will only embolden them, and Twitter internally did not want to endorse BuzzFeed's Sheffield findings. 29. Senate Intel Committee is asking possible to whip something together. What do you mean? Still, when the BuzzFeed piece came out, the Senate asked for a write-up of what happened. Twitter was soon apologizing for the same accounts they initially told the Senate about the problem. This would not be possible had Elon Musk not owning this Twitter platform right now. I would not be looking at this. Reporters now know this is a model that works. This cycle threatened legislation, whether to scare headlines pushed by a congressional intel source, congressional/intel sources, followed by Twitter caving to moderation asks, would later be formalized in partnerships with federal law enforcement. Twitter soon settled on its future posture. In public, it removed content at our sole discretion. Hang on. So, lack of evidence brought about by bully tactics, brought about by accusations of election meddling on large scale, which were blown out of the proportion from media leaks, congressional leaks, brought about by congressional pressure on platforms such as Twitter, allowed for policies such as adult sole discretion to be added to the Twitter terms of use services in lockstep with the US governments, in lockstep with US intelligence services. Am I understanding that correctly? Twitter soon settled on its future posture. In public, it removed content at our sole discretion. Privately, they would offboard anything identified by the US intelligence community as a state-sponsored entity conducting cyber operations. Okay, what if they get it wrong? Twitter let the USIC into its moderation process that would not lead for any other company's leaders. We will not be reverting to the status quo. Oh my god. Is there more to this? Is that it? Holy shit. Alright, that's it. I have enough. I need to research this more. I need to understand. I really need to understand. What version of reality are we actually living in? Because what I just read goes against my logic on how the world should operate in a free and open society, in a democratic society, in a republic. And I would like to know, what else that we don't know just yet was removed at their sole discretion. Because things that took place after the election, that we probably are all very aware of, maybe some of that was removed at their sole discretion, which is even more concerning. I'm not against the government trying to protect their citizens, trying to protect themselves, all the agencies trying to protect everyone, trying to do the right thing. But what if, what was the quote? What if, for example, these three factors slip into people running these things? What if greed, arrogance, and in some cases fraud slip into policing the town square globally? Now that is a very concerning trend. Alright, peace out, signing out. This was a very long one. I want to go back through, put some timestamps in. I'm probably just blowing your mind a fair bit. Remember what I told you about the economy. Remember what I told you about Twitter files. Remember, I'll keep telling you stuff. This hexagon might not be the hexagon you want, but it's the hexagon you got.